Ba-da-boo, ba-da-boo-boo. Good morning, everybody. How's it? Rough world out there, but I'm always trying to bring the smile and the how's it to everybody through my heavy metal channel. Um, my This video is very laid back and very casual, so no music this morning. But I do want to talk about music really quick. Some heavily polluted coffee. Um, you know, I still am only a fan of heavy metal. I am absolutely ignorant compared to the guys I like to watch, like Finn McKenty and Nick Nocturnal and stuff. I really enjoy their shows. I actually do watch it. I might make breakfast or something, but I enjoy watching it because it's unique because there's this generational gap where I think Nick's in his 20s and Finn's in his 40s, and so they come at music in a very unique way. There was something that Finn said once that like I think Nick Nocturnal, his opinion was Nick Nocturnal was the nice mom and Finn McKenty was the tough dad of opinions in heavy metal and stuff. Well, I haven't really formed necessarily an opinion, and that's why I don't do shows like them, even though this is no music. I will say in my short couple of years of being a fan of heavy metal music, and of course being fire hose fed all the bazooka million subgenres of heavy metal, that I can't help but agree with them on two things that is very unique. But I think coming from a 60-year-old point of view, so you got mom, you got dad, and I'm granddad, is there they were talking about this kind of resurgence of new metal in charts, and also what has happened to metal. Now, of course, like I said, I don't have a lengthy emotional discography or soundtrack of life that includes heavy metal, so I'm still a brand new metal fan. But listening to what they have to say, and also being a composer and at least music running through my veins, at least longer than these guys have been alive as a professional, or at least just part of my DNA. One thing that I have noticed in music and shifts and stuff is that these like, for instance, this when they talk about the new metal, what's causing this new metal uptick, if you would, in the charts, and then the intensity of the changes of what metal is happening at the moment, at least in the genres that you listen to, which I think is something important to point out here. But where metal music, tech metal core, so many genres, I don't know, but you know what I'm talking about. Heavy riffs, wide ambience and ethereal use of post guitar effects or synth work with incredible vocals, and even more so, just as incredible engineering. Some people would say that it's gotten way too glassy and detailed and precise in some of the metal production. Some would say that all the ethereal ambient hybrid metal techniques might be washing out the genre. But I want to start briefly with this thing about the chart, and new metal apparently getting a lot more listens at the moment. Is my personal take on that is I just think that from what little I know about new metal, without its deeper visceral history, is that rhythmically it is of the more palatable and digestible, let's just say, compositions in metal with the hybrids. Excuse me, whether it's back in the day the scratching and stuff, or the unique approach that like Korn and other bands took, just made it a lot more accessible to a much wider audience, because it wasn't as insanely teched out, or as well, I can't even say insanely teched out, I'm just saying composition wise a little more visceral and raw, and kind of like speak to the core of an audience that's maybe yearning for some metal in their production or in their ears, but not wanting to commit fully into the genres. And that might be just happening now, possibly because of the fact that the emotional state of the planet is changing in the same way that happened with grunge. Why did grunge come around? was more, I believe, from what little I know and some documentaries I've seen, depending on, who's producing documentaries, obviously, is that grunge was a result of an intense emotional shift that was going on in a particular part of the world, be it Washington, I guess it was, and then, it reverberated outward, kind of seeming like we're kind of going through some kind of heavy universal anxiety now. Does that represent the changes that we see in listening patterns? Absolutely. And as far as the newer sounds, like for instance, whether you have bands like Sleep Token or Ghost, which are two completely different yet similar in the vibe that I'm talking about, approachable, accessible production, not as heavy and gnarly in its aggressive composition nature, the chugginess and the heaviness and stuff like that. So of course, if you're going to take that, and expand the salad bar of possibilities that people have to listen to music, and you can approach a bigger audience, then you're going to have these surges or these unique blow-ups in genres that might diverge a bit. I think divergency in music is great, but sometimes it gets pretty overwhelming. So right now we seem to be in a stage, at least in a lot of things that's happening, in intense composition. Like I said earlier, 15 years ago, having strings in metal was nowhere near as prevalent as it is now is it tech metalcore? It's called, or metalcore, where now you have string arrangements and now you have unique instrumentation happening. We're pushing the limits. And I don't say that's bad or good. I'm enjoying it because as a composer, you know me, I'm peeling back the layers. I can just keep going and keep going and keep going. But as a listening base, and of course, feeding a little bit off of what, Finn and Nick are saying, there's a gigantic space for all that to happen. But I do believe that the metalcore resurgence, or also the broader acceptability of this kind of newer, detailed, some people would say overly produced. Some people say that the drums are beginning to all maybe sound the same, if you would, maybe because of many bazooka million reasons. But there is that thing that if a band releases this and is successful, sometimes producers, engineers, composers go, wow, I'm influenced by this, we're going to go in this direction, and you get an onslaught of that. But I think without a doubt, I agree with Nick and Finn in the sense that change is happening. Whether it's okay or not, it's not up to me. I don't have a big enough I don't stake a claim in a particular genre because I'm just an over-under, metal fan. I'm listening to it all. But without a doubt, music does reflect the change in the energy of what's happening in the world. And for those who are older metal fans or older whatever genre fans, well, there's always going to be that stoic gatekeeping of like, no, that's not, this is real metal, or this is real hip hop, or this is real classical music, or real jazz, or whatever that is. It's great, and that conversation will happen all the way till the cows come home, as new generations come forward and change things. And then, the last thing I want to say, briefly, is that because of the internet and stuff like that, we have an accelerated process of musicians getting so freaking good so fast that, it's going to yield a whole new generation of music over under as well in all genres, and they're getting better and stuff. The thing is now is that will the grip in the ear of your pure listener audience vacillate towards that and get into it? Just because you can get louder, faster, cleaner, better engineering doesn't mean that you're writing better music. Effectively, if what you're looking for, if you're a band or an artist or something, is to draw in an audience, it's to find somehow, some way through all that mining, artistic mining, if you would, and trying to find that one little gold vein of something that actually, cuts across and gets to, people that enjoy your music, unless you're definitively dedicated to a specific genre, I don't know what this ramble was about, but I woke up this morning and I looked at my list of reactions that I wanted to do, and I said, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to talk, and no one's going to listen. And if you did listen to this far, you know what to type in the comments. I'm still here drinking coffee, cold coffee. Anyhow, share your thoughts. I was just yammering. You guys take care. All right.